What they want to do is to decimate us.
From the lowest level of authority to the presidency, there is no vacuum, there is no vacancy.
They can't ignore us. They've discovered that we are too strong on the ground, and what they want to do is to decimate us.
Welcome to the first edition of the 2022 Situation right now here on Heart and Soul TV and radio. With me, your host as usual, Dara Blessed Mhlanga. Now, we here on the Situation right now are the biggest, the hottest political, social and economic talk show in the country. We bring you the issues that really matter. We answer the question for you. The question, the big question, so what? And in studio this afternoon to help me answer that question and to help us understand the issues around Zimbabwe's socio-economic and political discourse is Makomborero Interview, a member of the MDC-Alliance Youth Executive. Now, welcome Makomborero and welcome back from college.
Yeah, thanks Dara for welcoming me. It's nice, being here and talking to you, being able to even maybe share some of the experience and also maybe that's aspirations on maybe going forward, what I feel maybe we can do to ensure that no one will again ever go through this bad experience that we are going.
Now, Mako, you were arrested, convicted, granted bail after you challenged the conviction, but you were kept in remand prison. Some people would want to know what exactly the sequence of events.
The sequence of events is I had a plethora, a number of charges I've been given that I managed to get through to court with, and actually I had been made to even sign. I'm sure it was more than a dozen of fresh charges. I was made to sign warrant and caution statements of dozens of charges, but later on they dropped them and gave me just a few. Some of them, also these charges, were from last year but one. But they're just being dragged over and over, no conclusion, time wasting and stuff. So when I got bail over the other one that I had been convicted with, I had to return to remand prison. Why? Because these are the fresh charges in which I did not have bail. So for me to get out, it was either I had to apply for bail or maybe they would have to be concluded by way of trial. But then we tried the obvious case. We thought maybe to have trials, maybe there will be speedy trial because the law, even the constitution, states the need for a speedy trial in order not to prejudice the accused person, and also in order to ensure that the accused person's rights they are not necessarily, denied to the accused person. But however, the case was different because you check 10 months, 22 days. In terms of the prison calendar, it's 1 year, 3 months. Even if we were to use the normal calendar of 10 months, 22 days, it's too much longer time for a case to take without trial concluding. But remember that on this case, some of the charges, I was arrested for them on the 5th of February 2020. So it was more than a year. So for me, it's an indication, not really going much into the details of the court, because maybe I may be prejudicing, the course of justice or affecting it. But nevertheless, I'm focusing on the political aspect of the cases, because these are political charges, and I plead not guilty to them. And even if I'm to go to trial, I go with a clear conscience. And I know that any impartial court will acquit me of the charges. So what then prolonged my stay in remand prison was there were cases in which I did not have bail, and they were already running in terms of the trials that were going on.
So in effect, would you have actually served a prison term of 10 months, 22 days?
Yeah.
Without being convicted?
I can say maybe 3 of them were the ones I was convicted for. I was convicted and sentenced the sentence came on the 6th of April. I think it was from the 6th of April to, I think I have my bail slips. 6th of April to July. It was July. It was early July. I think I've left the bail slip. These are the 2 latest bills. To July, from April to July. So it's when I then returned back to remand. So I think on remand, it's kind of something like 10 minus 3. That's 7 months at remand. 7 months, 22 days at remand. Then 3 months. It's the ones that I served.
You were continuously, allegedly so, found at places where crimes were being committed, and you knew that you had been arrested before. Doesn't this arrest deter you from continuing to go to demonstrations, to continue to do some of those things?
They do not deter me. They actually, propel me, empower me, motivate me to keep fighting, because these arrests for me are more of vivid reminders that we are living in an unjust society. And my feeling, or my natural reaction, my default reaction to such negative vibes is to resist, to ensure that justice is done. So the only way to avoid such injustice in the future, whether perpetrated against me or my fellow citizens, would be to ensure that we confront them head on and eliminate whoever is behind the abuse of state institutions, which is resulting in the deprivation of citizens' rights, especially like in my case. So as long as the Constitution guarantees the right, to freedom of assembly, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, as long as the Constitution guarantees us the right to demonstrate and petition, as long as those clauses are there in the Constitution, we continue, exercising them, because it's the supreme law of the land. It must be followed. And anyone who is trying to deny other citizens, or even me, from enjoying those rights is acting against the Constitution and doesn't deserve to be in public office. Or anyone who benefits from the police, arresting citizens and activists and opposition members for practicing those rights, anyone who is a beneficiary of that doesn't deserve to be in public office.
Do you have some of these people in public office that you can actually name that these have benefited and do not deserve to?
Yeah, Emerson Mnangagwa is benefiting. He is benefiting from this system, because you can't in terms of the law and rights, they should be universal. They should be applied to all in equal measure and equal nature. Because why would they arrest us for demanding maybe an end to corruption, or what do they arrest their teachers, 16 of them in court right now, bruised, battered, abused, but they were peacefully demanding, better salaries. They did not steal from anyone. So why would you beat them or get them arrested?
Someone would say you are stubborn. What would you say?
I am not stubborn. I am not stubborn. Those who know me, can tell you that I'm an introvert per se. I'm not stubborn, but I'm just resolute. And so maybe there's a thin line between being resolute and being stubborn. Maybe there's a thin line between confidence and being stubborn. So it depends maybe from the angle in which they are looking at. If it's from the angle of course, those who are perpetrating, crimes against the people of Zimbabwe, economic crimes through corruption, crimes through denying the people of Zimbabwe their rights to register to vote, rights to vote, like people, inmates in prisons, they are supposed to vote. People in the diaspora, they are Zimbabweans, they are supposed to vote. So if you are that kind of person looking from that angle, you can rightfully say I'm stubborn. But if you are someone, an oppressed Zimbabwean, who is trying to, just get by, to see another day, who is afraid of getting even sick because they can't access the health care, who is even afraid of going home at the end of the day because the landlord will be demanding rent in arrears maybe of 3-4 months, who is afraid to a person who is afraid of maybe the beginning of the school term because they can't even imagine how to get school fees to pay for their kids. The person who is even afraid of, the sun rising because they can't even buy one loaf of bread and provide their families with breakfast. So if you are judging from that perspective, if you are someone who has been abducted, whose relative is gone missing with no accountability from the government, someone who stays, in the ghetto where we can't even access water, sewer systems, they are very old because the central government is playing politics and suspending, the mayor of suspending mayors and everything to score cheap political goals, but barring people from accessing the right water and even proper ablution facilities. If you are looking from that angle, I think you won't view me as someone who is stubborn. I'm just someone who wants a better life.
I want to go to issues that we raised while you were in prison, Marco. We saw news filtering that you felt abandoned while you were in prison.
That's a lie. Why I made sure that I had to be strong myself and to adopt a positive mindset, because I knew very well that I'm not a criminal. I did nothing to no one. I did not steal from anyone. I did not wrong anyone or break the law. Why I took strong, I understood that the regime wanted to use me as an example. As an example to fellow young people, to fellow citizens, to fellow activists, to my colleagues in the democratic movement, to everyone. They wanted to use me as an example to pacify them, everyone. Set me as an example that if you speak out, you will suffer. If you speak out, you will be damned. But those are lies. Check. Everything, there's everything for everyone to see. How can I be abandoned or feel damned when I was in prison? I saw fellow comrades coming in, tortured, some with bent faces through torture by CIOs. They were tortured while demanding, for my freedom. So how can I feel abandoned with such a situation? When I hear that at Chivi Growth Point, over 30 people have been arrested and others are actually being denied bail for demonstrating demand for my freedom. When I know that in Chirezi, people had been arrested and others were even, tortured for demanding my freedom, how can I ever think or imagine that I've been abandoned? When even on the day I was sentenced, I could see for myself, and even when I was in prison, I got the feedback from new inmates from even prison officers. They say, you are Marco. We've seen, get to Jura are written all over free Marco, people power, free Marco, So how can I ever feel abandoned? How can I feel abandoned when...
How did that make you feel, Marco?
For me, it made me feel that I'm not in this alone, I'm not walking alone. And these struggles, as they are not for any personal gratification or anything. It's a people's struggle. So for me, it was kind of validation that I'm not in this alone, and we are in this together. And as long as we're in this together, even if I'm to die, someone will take my place and continue moving forward.
Some would say that you are funded by Western, the government has said there's allegations that you're funded to cause alarm and despondence and to destabilize the Harare regime. Now, why are you being funded if you are being funded?
I'm not funded at all. I'm not funded. If I were funded, my guy, I would be rich. Maybe I wouldn't have had all these problems. I am not funded. And no one can ever fund or sponsor you to the extent that you risk your life to be in a prison, overcrowded prison during a COVID pandemic. How much can you charge someone for you to die? Could not give me this amount of money so that I can go and die. How can I ever even, be paid to risk, during my arrest, I was shot at, live bullets. I was shot at and I survived by a whisker. And how can I ever be funded? How much can make me, be that stupidly suicidal that I give me this money then again? So these are lies. But if you were to check if there's ever any evidence, the government at the end of each and every year, they are the ones who publish that they've gotten foreign direct investment or bailouts from Western countries. They are the ones who do that. The only issue maybe we see is, even last time they had a fight with the Chinese when they, wrote and published wrong figures. They they'd verminated the other man. They'd stolen. So they put the little that was left. And the Chinese said, no, we gave you more than this. They are getting funding from the Chinese. They are getting money. We had Emerson Mnangagwa himself, during Cyclone he died. He was boasting that he has been given real money that buys not our fake bond papers. He said it himself that he had been given by the Americans real money. And from my understanding, the Americans are the Western. From my understanding, they even get money and bailouts, of various nature from even the British. He is everywhere in the Western world, seeking and clicking, trying to convince them to get money. But I have never done that. I have never received any money from any Western power. I have never, and I will never be sponsored to risk my life. But what drives me, it's the conviction that Zimbabwe can be better. It's the knowledge that we were born equal and humanity, it's our,
But it can be better
it's our common race.
Without you, because you said you survived death by a whisker because you were shot at.
It's nothing, my brother. There are others who have actually paid the ultimate price. There are people like Ita Samara. Their families, even up to now, they don't know where they are. His children don't even know where their father is. If you go back 2008 era and some back there, you will find that a lot of people they lost their limbs. Others were bent, petrol pumping in Zaka. If you go to Mash East, to Mash Central, in areas like Mount Darwin there, you find people with their limbs cut off. And it was easy that the reasons were easy that we are torturing you for supporting and voting the opposition. So those people have paid more, by far more sacrifices. So whatever I've done and whatever problems and suffering that I've faced, it's nothing compared to all those people. And it's actually my humble contributions, towards our collective freedom. Because for us even to be here, some sacrifice their own in the liberation struggle. Some even, their relatives don't even know how they died, if ever they died or where they died. And So it's humanity, we have to make our own contributions.
Let me bring you to the issue of your lawyers, Marco. Some believe that your lawyers failed you in terms of getting you bail.
No, my lawyers did not fail me. My lawyers did not fail me. I was in charge of, my defense, because I'm the one who was charged in this case. So I'm the one who was leading in terms of my defense, instructing which lawyer to do which case, which lawyer to do which case, which lawyer to do which case, and which application to make, and what defense to do.
Obviously, they were advising you.
Yeah, they were advising me, and I was instructing them. Anyone who has basic knowledge of the courts knows that the lawyers, your legal advisors, they advise you as the client, and you also instruct them. And it was very amicable, very good. From my trial lawyers, I'm still on with them, and they've worked with me this chain, and I trust that we'll be together till the end. Because I know both, I do not in any way feel that they failed me in any way. And also, even my bail lawyers, I instructed. So, but if you check each and every case on my cases, it is a different lawyer. Each and every application, it is a different, lawyer, including on the bail. Some come and just be bail, do the bail applications, then come back. And then the trial lawyers continue the trial. So, with all my legal team is fantastic. Zimbabwe Women Rights, fantastic. And yeah, I'm good.
There's this notion that Professor Love Momaduku had to come and rescue the situation and get you bail, and your lawyers who were doing bail were playing politics.
That's news to me. That's news to me. Because what I know what I did, from my angle, I simply contracted and hired, lawyers for specific reasons. And for bail, I hired Professor Maduk for bail. So the politics that is being said and done, I don't understand them. Maybe it's something that I'm yet to hear, and then but I can't see how anyone can ever play any politics, because the instructions that I gave to my lawyers, all of them, they were followed. So whatever was happening, it was my instruction as far as I'm concerned. And but you must also understand that people can be petty sometimes and try to create unnecessary fights or divisions. Like, for example, people would say that I was abandoned in prison. With all the solidarity I got. And it's something which was actually just designed to create chaos and unnecessariness, but it failed because I knew the reality, and my comrades knew the reality. And now, if you're on this case, because on that one, the allegations were around issues. Now it's around legal issues. So I'm actually wondering what next issue will they try and create, these fake narratives and everything. But everything is okay, and fantastic lawyers. How can I have problems, especially with some of them now, when they've been representing me for over a decade? Ever since I was a first-year student in 2011, they are the ones who were taking me through hearings on college at UZ, and also court cases at Rotten Road, Bar, in various places. So, and I trust in them, and they're doing a fantastic job. And we are blending well.
Let's talk about the day you were granted bail, the final time you were granted bail. You then spent an extra 36 hours after your bail was granted in prison. Do you know what was going on?
In as far as I understand, my brother, what we must just know is that when fighting the system also tries to fight back. Like me being in prison, it was the system that was fighting me, and the system was doing everything to ensure that I will stay in prison for long enough a time, maybe until I die, or maybe until I break down, or maybe I don't know. So, from my understanding of the events and everything, it was just illegal detention which was being done, and no reason can justify that further detention. No reason. Because had I been someone from ZANU-PF or a ZANU-PF MP or ZANU-PF minister or a ZANU-PF Youth League member in the national executive of ZANU-PF, would that have happened to me? No. So it's because of who I am and my political beliefs and everything. That's solely the reason that can explain. All other justifications do not work.
We saw images, I mean, you were inside and we were from the outside, and we saw images of the police bringing in 2 truckloads of armed riot police. Did you ever get understanding of why there was that movement at a time where you were supposed to be released?
Yeah, like I said, that even my prolonged stay of the system, like why would they, after I got bail from the High Court of the land, I get bail, then I pay for the bail, then they refuse to release me. It doesn't make sense. Then for them also then bring the riot police, it doesn't make sense. And what was even more awkward was bringing riot police into a security area, because prisons, it has its own security and everything. Then to bring the riot police, I don't really understand whether they were trying to intimidate either me or the fellow prisoners or people who would come collect me. But in any way, I'm used to the riot police. I've been their client for over a decade, and they failed to break me, and whatever they did, it actually agitated me. Because I wanted to take some few days off and try to recover, visit family and stuff, but I then discovered that no, if they are bringing these guys for me when I'm coming out of prison, then it means they still want they still want to offer their service to me, security services that they always offer when we do our demonstration and stuff. And then it was actually also a stark reminder that I may have been inside for long, but outside things have not changed. Mm-hmm. Outside things, if they've changed for the worse. It was just the pure picture that it got. A lot of people have been going out of prison without even a single police officer visiting them, but here truckloads and truckloads of riot police coming. It didn't make sense, and it's just affirmed to me that we have a lot of work to do out here, and I'm up to the task.
Give us some color, Mako. Take us inside prison. What is it like?
Prison, like the picture I have is the D-class section, where the most dangerous criminals are kept. You
were kept there?
Yeah, it's where I was. D-class section, yeah. And it has cells. There are 10 huge ones, and then also there are smaller ones, maybe for solitary confinement. And they are supposed to house, these cells. At most, in the D-class, at most is 300 prisoners.
In the 10?
Yeah, in the cells. When the prison is said to be, especially the D-class section, it's said it's full, it must be 300 prisoners. But the day I left, there were over 750. There was over 750. So the picture I'm trying to paint here, it's about lack of space, overcrowdedness, high risk in terms of basic diseases. Not even yet speaking of COVID, I'm speaking of basic diseases. That's why almost every time outbreaks of things like diarrhea and stuff, they are rampant. And now with this overstuffing, of prisoners, you discover that abolition facilities become affected, and the sewer systems are old and outdated, so they always pest. The sewage smell, it's a kind of normal scent in the particular section, and it's also a permanent health hazard, because even the chambers, the way they are cleaned, if it blocks, then when they try to, if it's not, sorted overnight, because lock-up time is 3 p.m. and they unlock the following day in the morning, from 3 p.m. up until, 7 a.m. So if a toilet is blocked, people will definitely improvise. And improvise by using the buckets, improvise by using that chamber and then scooping, the feces, using hands into the bucket so that they emptied the other functional toilet. So in terms of health-wise, in terms of basic sanity or even basic human survival, it's a big game. It's a big game, and to survive in there, you need to have, a spiritual level in terms of motivation. Because you have to be motivated. You have to have hope. Because loss of hope is the worst thing that can ever happen. You will not even strain yourself to go and look for water, which is also a problem. Like when I left, water was very much a big problem. There was no water on Rarman prison. So you need hope for you to be able to say, no, I need to, by any means necessary, I need to find a bucket of water to even path, and the energy to do it, to get food, try and organize your food, and eat and stuff and stuff and stuff.
Did anyone die while you were there?
Yeah, a couple of them. They were in the cell, wakes up dead, others would die maybe at the prison clinic. But people die. And that's I think the picture for it is. So in terms of also proper care of prisoners, the Zimbabwe Prison and Correctional Services, it's really, really failing that aspect. Maybe it's not their problem. I would rather blame the government than the bosses, the ones that allocate in terms of budgeting, in terms of funds and funding. But
we hear that PS has got farms, so prisoners go there and farm, and you've got good food that comes from the farm. You're self-sufficient as prisoners.
They are lying. If it were true, we wouldn't have had prisoners with pelagia. We wouldn't have had prisoners who are suffering from malnutrition. We wouldn't have prisoners who are, get ill because of lack of certain, nutritional values in their bodies, in their diets.
But you look very healthy.
I never ate prison food during my entire period. That's why I'm shocked if people were saying I was abandoned. I ate on a daily basis. I ate food from outside. If I failed to get food from outside, I wouldn't eat from prison. I didn't trust them. Number one, in terms of poisoning, which was a reality. And there were many instances where, you could discover and actually be warned by even strangers. Come and tell you that be careful with the food. Be careful with this. So prison food I would never eat, number one, because of that. Then number two, because to avoid running stomachs and stuff, it's inedible. The SADs are, if you get it, sometimes even if you get the food, the relish, it will be maybe just boiled cabbage or something. And there was a time when, for a long time, people were surviving without, were eating food without cooking oil, without salt. Sugar from prison to get tea, it's also a serious spot. And these are things which we can't blame, like the prison officers, but it's from the central government. It's in terms of resource allocation, responsible resource allocation by the government. It's in terms of budgeting, responsible budgeting. Because if they put much of the money towards, the army, when we are not in any war, the last war we have ever heard of in Zimbabwe, it's a long time back. Maybe the DRC was the last one we operated. And the Mozambican war came, I'm sure we felt deployed for one reason or another. So we lasted war a very long time ago. And so it doesn't make sense to really continue putting a large chunk of the money towards the services, towards the army when there are the departments. Yeah, so we can't really blame the Zimbabwe Prison and Correctional Services because they are not responsible for those resource allocation and budgeting. Because if you check, they also fall under it's one ministry, Ministry of Justice and Prisons, blah blah blah. I think Ministry of Justice should just put its own, and the also correctional services should actually be maybe a parastatal on its own, which can fundraise and be innovative enough to sustain itself. I think that way it can help in terms when attracting even private capital, attracting even even donations, even doing business. Because in prison, you find a lot of some of the most skilled people in various fields are in jail. Some of the most skilled people who can do various things are in jail. So it's easy to build one of most competitive, parastatal or even industry using labor from the prison services. Expert labor, not just physical, expert labor. It's very easy. So, but now that they fall under the same category of the Justice Ministry, obviously they will prioritize the welfare of magistrates, the welfare of judges, paying them cars, giving them farms and farming inputs, houses. So there's no way they will prioritize the welfare of a prisoner vis-a-vis the welfare of the judges and stuff. So if they are separated, I'm sure a more equilibrium or fairness can emerge from them and improved conditions of the prisons.
Now, Mako, you were granted bail, and some people would say that this is a sign that there's justice in this country.
No. I was not supposed to be arrested in the first place. So you can't trample on my rights, lock me, and for a prolonged period, and then when I get bail, then claim that it's a sign that there's justice. And for me, from the way I take it as maybe the strength, the people-to-people strength and solidarity that I received. It's people-to-people solidarity that I received from the citizens. Those demonstrations, I'm very, very much sure that they're the ones that shoot ZANU-PF. Those, even the Makomanders that were being, done on social media, continuously raising the voice by the people. I'm sure they also contributed to me getting bail because ZANU-PF was really feeling the heat. I also believe that the diplomatic pressure which was being piled, for example, by the diplomatic pressure by, foreign, missions, and also statements by foreign missions, and also parliaments, like the UK Parliament, also floats. I strongly believe that they're the ones that pushed enough pressure on the government. Because at some point, I saw Emmerson Mnangagwa responding, to the British Parliament. He was trying to say blah blah blah. We have our own justice system and runs on its own blah blah blah. But it was clear that it felt pressure. So my getting bail is not a reflection in as far as reforming is concerned on the part of ZANU-PF. So if they can actually parrot that I got bail, it's proof that we have a functional justice system. It means that our justice system is influenced by politics, which is actually a worse thing. So in terms of that, no, and I will never at any point feel indebted or whatsoever to both the justice system that had me wrongly kept confined in prison. I do not feel indebted to it nor to the government that is influencing judicial capture in terms of persecuting human rights activists and opposition activists and pro-democracy campaigners. I will never at any point feel indebted, and and my position is clear. If they feel that they can arrest even today, I'll let them do so. I'll fight my way back again and I'll get out. Whether after 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, but the most important thing is I'll get out. And they must also know that all these atrocities they are committing, they will end up radicalizing the people. And the people will make sure that one day the tables will turn and the justice, will be ensured. And those who are abusing the people will answer to their crimes against the people. They will have to have their own day in court, and they have to account for whatever crimes against Zimbabweans. Because they are killing the latent spirit of the nation, the soul of the nation. They are destroying even the future. Go everywhere you see in the ghettos, people are now abusing drugs. It's a sign of hopelessness. So they would rather abuse drugs, just to maybe survive, because to survive properly without having stress in a country like Zimbabwe that is being run by ZANU-PF. Most people are now resorting to drugs, to crime, even juvenile delinquencies in the ghettos. It's now high. Why? Because the government is setting the conditions for all this to happen. I blame it on the government.
So we are going to by-elections on March 26. What role do you see the young people play?
The young people, when it comes to by-elections, I understand that the people who vote on the 26th of March are the ones who are already on the voters' roll, right? So young people, what they need to do is to conscientize. Because they need to give each other political education on the merits of participating in governance issues, on the merits of registering to vote, on the merits of voting. We must enlighten each other, give each other insight. That yes, on the ballot paper, there may be a person's name and face and maybe name of a political party. But what's on the ballot paper? It's education. What's on the ballot paper? It's employment. What's on the ballot paper? It's a just society. What's on the ballot paper? Human rights. What's on the ballot paper? It's patriotism. Love for country. Because the version of ZANU-PF of patriotism, it's all very, very much wrong. It's all about ZANU-PF's definition of patriotism. It's all about empty slogans, and war symbols. But that's not patriotism. Patriotism.
I know you're not the party spokesperson, but from your personal understanding, some people say that your party that you are part of has no plan. It is out of sorts. It has been outsmarted, so it's going to be buried. Do you think it's still a vehicle to bring what you aspire?
I think the MDC, from my understanding and from the understanding of the general of the people, I heard party leader, First President Biti today, earlier on, saying this, and I want to quote him, that Nigeria is the most populous nation in Africa. But do you even know the name of the ruling party? The ordinary African doesn't know. Egypt is the most populous, Arab country, the most popular Arab country in Africa. But do you even know the ruling political party there, or even the opposition political party there? No. What of even Lesotho, we can even go to other, major countries. But in Zimbabwe, the movement for democratic change, it's known all over the world. On its own, it's proof that it's a force. It's a force stroke, it's a big force. The reason why ZANU-PF is fighting it through even illegal means, through even abusing, the state institutions, from the security ones to even the ones that are supposed to ensure, the proper administration of the law. It's because they are afraid of MDC. And to claim that the MDC is outsmarted left, right, and center, I think it's a kind of a misguided statement, because how can we blame people who are being abused? How can we blame them for their abuse? Not cooperating in all, fairness. It's their power is the reason why they are fighting, why they are being, abused this much. We all know, even recently we have the ferret team, which got deployed, some few years ago. And William Shosho, one of the members, when he was arrested after robbing people, he claimed that no, we were on an assignment to torture and beat up and abuse opportunities and MDC people. It's proof that if the MDC was dead, if the MDC-Alliance was useless, why would they pay much attention to them? So what we are facing in Zimbabwe, it's a dictatorship. And these modern day authoritarian competitive regimes, they are worse than back then, because right now they make it difficult to see who the enemy was. But under the colonial regime, it was easy. We say that the rotation front. And even if it's to be more difficult, you just say, no, white people, they are the enemy. It was easy to identify the enemy. But now with these competitive authoritarian regimes, it's more difficult, my brother, to identify the enemy and these tactics. They give the air that we are democratic by holding elections, but the institutions which run the elections are corrupted to the extent that they can't even run a proper, election. But to the world, they're parroting that we are democratic because we are running elections, we're doing elections, we are getting voted for. But it's an election that is highly flawed. That is rigged before it even starts. You see, even when we attempt to speak of electoral reforms, we can't speak of electoral reforms without electoral justice. There are people who have been abused, and people, it's bad. Thousands were killed in 2008. But do you know if a single person who was arrested for killing those people? So are we saying our police force can't do their work? They can't effect an arrest? On those amount of murders, I would rather call it a genocide. Even on ground, it was a genocide. Not even a single person was arrested. Even closer to 1 August, not even a single person was arrested. So how can we then claim that how can we then blame people who are doing to fight and stand up against the competitive authoritarian regimes and actually surviving and actually beating them? Because if we check 2018, they were beaten nice and smart. 2008, they were beaten nice and smart.
Do you have faith in Nelson Chamisa?
Yeah, he's the only way forward as far as Zimbabwe is concerned. In terms of also providing direction, inspiring hope to the citizens, also even the fight against the ZANU-PF, which is a well-known, both ZANU-PF, my best definition of ZANU-PF is that it's a mafia that operates well above in the national mafia standards, well above. Because
Douglas Monzora says he's bringing in new politics of national disputation and he will deliver this country to a new generation. Do you believe in that?
Those are delusions of grandeur. Of course, as a politician, it's a right to participate in politics, but what those sentiments that politics of rational disputation, what does it mean by rational disputation? When we have a dictatorship that is murderous, that is abusing people, right? So if we then say, or Nelson Chamisa says, I can't go to the same table and get into an inclusive government with this murder, with someone who's killed, people from my part, fellow citizens. And Douglas says, no, I can find myself with ED. We can go we can agree on many issues. It is changing. Rational disputation on that one, it's highly abused as a word, number one. Then number two, it's just a word that is being used to justify, whatever interests that they have. And it is right at the end of the day to post, these are my opinions, and it is right to do that at the end of the day, but whatever type of politics that he will be doing, I think it's critical to also see, both history as examples. Even the apartheid regime, they had examples. They had their own, plagues that they used to sabotage the black people's struggles. Even here in Zimbabwe, also the issue of Bishop Makomborero. So what is important? Are
you quoting Douglas Monzora to Bishop Makomborero?
No, I'm just quoting historic examples. So it's out to him then to see whatever contribution is making, are they benefiting the ordinary Zimbabwean? He has a right to do whatever politics is doing, but it's up to him at the end of the day that he has to see and judge for himself whether the type of politics he's doing is beneficiary to the Zimbabweans or it's actually prolonging the suffering of the Zimbabweans.
He was once your Secretary General at the MDC. If you would sit down with him today, what would you tell him?
What I would tell him is if I'm to sit down with him and talk to him, I don't think that I would sit down with him and talk to him, especially on this, because what he has done, especially to the movement and in terms of dashing the hopes and aspirations of Zimbabweans, I don't think they will forgive him for anything. And other than telling him of which where he is now, it's too late for him to turn back or to change his type of politics, because he's already knee deep in whatever he's doing. So, what I would do, just like when I met him, in Kwai office, then he leave policy. I can't tell him a lot. There's nothing I can tell him. He's a grown up, and whatever things he's doing, I agree with his politics. But it's right to do them, but he's seriously affecting, the prospects and hopes of the people and the generality of. So, but he's someone I believe that is intelligent. He knows what he's doing, and he knows that what he's doing is prolonging the suffering of Zimbabweans. So maybe it will be up to the reason why he's doing it. Maybe he should reconsider the reasons why he's doing it, or try to see if there are no better ways of acquiring what he expects to acquire with this. Because we might not, he might argue, he might say whatsoever, but whatever he's doing is benefiting ZANU-PF and not the people of Zimbabwe. Whatever he's doing is benefiting ZANU-PF. And also, the rationality of it, even the rational disputation that he speaks of, doesn't make sense. You can't claim to be president of 3 political parties in one go. You can't claim to be 3 different people in one go. You can't just want to do things which, even if it's to be put to the table, to see, all right, what do you benefit you and the party that you purport to lead? Is nothing. Who benefits? It to be clear that it's ZANU-PF. So I think the logic is that simple. It's not like they pity him whatsoever, but they do not like his politics. Not as an issue that's not liking his politics, but it's because his politics is sabotaging the aspirations for a better Zimbabwe. But however, it's clear, even also to the people, because people can see black from white. They can see, because if you are doing things that benefit the further survival interests of ZANU-PF, people will see that it's ZANU-PF. So you won't add any number or any figure ZANU-PF.
Mako, as we come to a closing, should the people of Zimbabwe, the young people, expect going forward from Makomborero Aruzivishe of Masvingo?
I spent 322 days in prison, and I can assure you that of those 322 days, I made the point that each and every day I come up with a strategy how to, come up with successful means to win our battle. So they should rest assured that I have 322 strategies, and I'm sure they will lead us into the next election. And but for now, one step at a time, we need to reach 10 votes. We need to reach 10 votes. we need to register and vote is the first step. Voting is the second step. Defending the vote is the third step. You know, coming up with mechanisms to even defeat rigging is the next step. So if we register to vote in our numbers, you can even raise the rigging. If we raise the rigging ceiling to be difficult, like in 2008, they had to, to try and play with numbers, but they failed to overturn the proposed fixture. In 2018, they did it so clandestinely that they couldn't even provide evidence for where they got their figures from. ZEC would not just, even up to now, ZEC can't justify how it arrived at Mnangako's victory when it was clear that he had lost. They can't even make it accessible to people for verification the server that they used to collect that. So if we register in our numbers, everything else will follow. Why? Because all revolutions, they end in the ballot box. Even our armed liberation struggle, it ended in the ballot box. Even in South Africa, the fight against the apartheid system, where Mkondo Siswe was even using, sabotage as a way to weaken the apartheid system. But if you remember, it ended where? In the ballot box.
Every revolution ends at the ballot box, ends at the polling station. Mako, your parting words to the people of Zimbabwe, to the comrades that you say gave you solidarity whilst you were in prison, financial, moral support. What are your words?
For the Zimbabweans, I appreciate a lot, and also everyone who participated in various forms of indispensable solidarity towards, me and our collective cause. Thanks very much. I will keep the fight. I'll keep fighting on. This is not my fight alone. It's our fight together. So, and victory is certain because we are in charge. We the people are in charge. People power is stronger than the individuals in power. So those in power may seem to be in control, but we are all fairly in charge. And victory is certain, and we need to continue the solidarity. For me, to prove that humanity, it's all our race, and love, the kind of solidarity and love was shown. It's our religion. Let's maintain that, and it's also what motivates me to fight, for justice where there's injustice. Sometimes the injustice may not be against me, but against others. So, we have to continue the fight, and they've registered for it. Voter registering, it's a kind of bail, and then the trial will become election day. And if we vote in our numbers, then we are sure to get acquitted and discharged from this discharge.
You now understand the prison jail system.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, Mako, for joining us and sharing insights with us here on the situation right now on this your show that discusses the hottest topics, political, social, and economic. And I was in studio with Makomborero Interview, popularly known by his friends as Mako. Now, we are your number one station, and we are your number one show. You give us the status. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for your call, and thank you very much for your support that you offered us in 2021. And we hope that to cover these by-elections as we cover the road to 2023 and cover the elections in 2023 and give you exciting information on your phone, in your home. You'll continue to support Heart and Soul TV and radio, the brand that cannot be ignored. And I am your host, as always and as usual, Dara Blessed Mhlanga, coming to you through from the studios at Heart and Soul TV and radio. This is Heart and Soul News and Current Affairs. Thank you for choosing us as your station of choice.